All right. Well, Donald, let me start by once again echoing all of the congratulations for your Oscar nomination.
Thank you so much.
It's
I
such an
appreciate that.
incredible, it's such an incredible acknowledgement of your work and well deserved. And Dune's incredible. It's a big honor for us to get to talk to you so close after this huge achievement. So thank you again.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. It was pretty special. It was really, yeah, that was a very, very special time.
That's awesome. So I'm going to get into it real quick. I want to be really respectful of your time. I'm a huge Moon Knight fan, big fan of the comics, and now big fan of the series. So it's incredible to get to talk to you about it. So I wanted to start with a question about director Mohamed Diab's kind of mission brief for this series. He had talked to great length. Hello, this is my cat who has joined the chat. Hello.
Oh, it's sweetie. What's his name? Her name?
His name's Rodney. He's a medium hair.
Rodney the cat. What a great name. Okay.
The age of Zoom, right? So Mohamed Diab has spoken at great length about his desire to present Egypt and the Egyptian people in an authentic and de-exoticized way in the series.
Yeah. Yep.
So with that as kind of a mission brief, I was curious what influences your department drew on to inspire the look of your Egyptian characters.
Well, it's so great this has been brought up because I liked working with Muhammad very much. Well, all of them. I mean, Benson and Moorhead. What was so great about Muhammad was, see, with May particularly, because I had worked with a Palestinian actress before in Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met May Kalamawe, I went to see Muhammad. I had a meeting with him in the office and I said, okay, let's talk about May for a minute. And he said, I want her to look natural. And I knew exactly what he meant. And because the connotations, you see, we all do this. You know, film and TV is all about stereotypes, isn't it? And of course, Arabic, Egypt, Arabic, you know, it's always the same thing. You know, it's always exotic. It's always all the eyeliner and it always has been. And it's so incorrect. And he said to me, you know, I want her to look, you know, natural. So I knew that right away. And then I met with May and we figured it out. And I loved, you know, her hair natural. What that means is natural. It means curly. It means the texture it exists in, however that is. So if you have straight hair, that's the natural state it's in. You leave it straight. If you have curly hair, you leave it curly. And of course, with the makeup, so we did one makeup. And I remember he said, I think even that's too much. And that was interesting to me, because she really had very little makeup on. But even that for him was like, you know, it's very little. He didn't want all that eye makeup because that's what you always see depicted. We want modern, contemporary Egypt. So that's what we did. And it's so right. And I really admire and respect that we did that. And May was fantastic. And he was, and everybody was. I think it was great to do modern. Contemporary. And it works, and she's believable even as a Scarlet. I mean, we changed a few things. In fact we made her hair more, we did sort of almost Donna Summer. It was slightly like you know, Bad Girls. There was a moment where I went, oh my God, it was a little Bad Girls, but it's real, you know, that's how things look. And we had a really like the ethnicity and representational cast was very nice. It was exciting. People from the UK and the Middle East. And anyway, so that's it.
That's excellent. And what a canvas to work with. I mean, May is incredible. Just a talent of force. She's going to be a big deal going forward. It was really cool. Excellent. Thank you. So with Oscar Isaac's trio de force performance of Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and somebody else, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, there's an incredible progression of sleep-deprived eye circles at work. It's fascinating to watch. It really puts us in Stephen's sleep-deprived eyes. I really enjoyed that bit of it. So I was curious, with such a complex set of roles that Oscar is portraying, I wondered whether you were adapting hair and makeup for each of the alternate personalities, and how was it collaborating with Oscar again so close to the Dune project?
Well, I mean, it was it was really great because Oscar had called me, and I mean, that's how I ended up on the project. I had a couple of concerns because I hadn't worked in, streaming. Okay, TV's TV. I mean, call it what it is. And
Mhm.
I know it's different. I know it's more like film. We treated it like film. It's run like film. So I'm not a snob anymore. I used to be. But Oscar, kind of talked to me about it. And then Grant Curtis, who was the showrunner, was fantastic. And we had such great people, Chris Ness and Tommy Turtle and all these guys. And I thought, these are great people. And how come I've been missing out on all of this for such a long time? It was exciting. And I could have a great crew that I put together and run the hair and makeup and prosthetics. So yeah, it was, I think with Oscar, the Stephen Mark, I just referenced like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, with Polanski and The Tenant. And I just think it's one guy. Now that was a little difficult with some departments. I kind of suffered a little bit where there were a lot of newer people to the business where you have to say, look, guys, it's one guy. He's not two people or three people. You can't walk in the room with like unshaved and look like hell and then appear totally different. You're still the same guy. It's a personality disorder. It's not a different person. And that took a minute. You can see on people's faces the confusion, even on the call sheet. And I had them change the call sheet to say, Mark is Stephen, Stephen as Mark.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So I had them do little things. But there were a couple of times it was a little frustrating. But the really difficult thing was then having people twin or double. So Oscar would have to switch 2 and 3 times a day. So keep very simple hair. I mean, sometimes it could be too perfect. I worried about that. But yeah, he has to be clean shaved because you're playing the same guy. So why would you be like, somebody said, wouldn't he be stubbly? No, why?
Right.
It's the same day. It's all happening like this in real time. But the fatigue, that happens to people in moments, that kind of your adrenaline, the sweat. So that's what I did. That was my kind of reasoning of Stephen. And then Mark is stronger, but he can't be that different. Gotcha. The hair has to be whatever. Anyway, we had a good time with it. And I think less is more in that case, but I'm glad you could see like there's a shift in the bags and there's a difference. It's there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can tell that progression, and it mirrors kind of Stephen's struggle as he's discovering this other life. It really helps echo that. It's just a great subtle. It's excellent.
Well, spread the word because I'm happy. Some people like, oh, he's got a lot of menthol in his eyes. There's a lot of stuff going on. And then by episode 5 in Asylum, I mean, he's so drugged with opioids. He's got lenses in. They're really great. They're kind of dilated pupils. He's got cotton, like the old Marlon Brando, so his mouth is drooling.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Ethan, I've given him a mustache. David Atherton did his makeup, but I got him a wig to give him the shorter hair. So we did a lot of things. May looks like she now lives there, that she's a patient. So we did, very One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by the time we got into that one.
Excellent. That's a great segue. I had a question about the Ethan Hawke role, Arthur Harrow, because there's the 2 distinct looks. We have this kind of cult leader. And Ethan, I think, spoke about it being kind of Dr. Moreau-esque. And then Stephen Grant refers to the Dr. Harrow outfit as inspired by Ned Flanders. Now, on my end, I couldn't help but see Stan the Man Lee, a little bit of inspiration from that in that costume. So I was curious with those. It's a very dramatic change and very important change. I was wondering about the inspiration for those 2 distinct looks for Ethan Hawke.
Well, I mean, initially, Ethan wanted his hair. I mean, I really struggled with that because David came along to do his makeup. I hadn't worked with Ethan in 15 years. Part of my team at Kay, great team, Megan Norris and Athena and Amma and Luve Larson, who was with me on Dune. I had great people, but I remember thinking, Ethan, the long hair, I just don't get it. In the end, I think it was the right move. Ethan was correct. I was wrong because it gave us a place to go. Sometimes in making movies, as you know, you got to make decisions early on that affect way down the road, but you have to make a decision now. And it was great because we had the Dr. Harrow. It wouldn't have worked. For me, it was a little bit initially a bit Steve Martin. I was a little bit like, is this a bit Steve Martin with the long hair? Like, I've seen that movie in a comedy. I was a little worried. I got to tell you, the costume, the whole look worried me. But you have to stop yourself sometimes and go check yourself, Donald. Stop it. And then, because that happened to me on First Man, where I actually stayed awake one night thinking, does your beard stubble grow in space? I did do that one night, and I thought, Donald Mowat, you have to stop and get out of this business. But I did look at Ethan one day and went, oh God, it doesn't work. But it does, because when we got to Harrow, David Atherton's great makeup man, I just said, David, this is going to work. Let's get him a wig. I'm going to get it made. Megan fit him beautifully. We got this wig made and the mustache. And Ethan said, let's do a beard. And I went, no. Let's not do the beard. Let's do the mustache. And Ethan does listen. And it worked. Had we not done the hair, the long hair, and done the shorter hair, we had no place to go because he couldn't have turned up as the doctor with the long hair. You see what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So what is that? Fortuitous, serendipity, whatever that was, it worked. Because I think the episode 5, he looked better there than he did in the whole show, but that piece worked better.
Gotcha. Excellent. So I'm getting the signal for the last question here. Thank you so much again for your time. I wanted to get really granular. I one of my favorite makeup movements in cinema history is the nosy fella from Chinatown. That great noir effect. And I can't help but notice you've referenced at least twice in your work. We've got Kay in Blade Runner 2049. Gosling's got this just massive, beautiful, bloody visage. And then we get a segment in the psych ward when Mark or someone else wakes up and has that broken nose bandage. So I was really curious. It's such a synonymous effect with noir and that iconographical language of filmmaking. So I was curious, when you approach a setup like that, is it something where you're trying to reference that earlier work or push it, kind of do that reference?
I like the reference. It's like I used on, Dune, I used Apocalypse Now and Island of Dr. Moreau for the Baron. And that's how Lube Larson and I started the whole Baron idea. Yeah, I think you have to have a visual reference because we work in a visual medium. But yeah, I think the bandage, the idea of it, Chinatown, I mean, it's just, come on, spectacular.
It's just dripping today, with setups. It's amazing.
Yeah, I go, come on. And every once in a while you be in the street and you see somebody walking around who's just put something on, you go, it's friggin' amazing. It's so bad, it's good. But yeah, that's what we did, and did the smaller one. Of course, I did it with Kay in Blade Runner, which I love doing. I mean, it was just, yeah, I loved it. But it can work and it can also not work. You have to be on the right thing. It doesn't always work. And you can try that and it's just, no bueno. Yeah.
And that's the thing, you go back and you look at it, and it's a bulbous setup. Like what they did in Chinatown is really interesting, and people have refined it and made it kind of more abstract in the references. And it just was really cool to see you do it twice and have a different progression, a different take on it both times.
Yeah, sometimes small is good. I mean, yeah, and other times you look at things you did, or a director wants it and you kind of go, really? Like, I just have a thing about certain things and just don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to do a broken nose in a movie. I turned down Lucky Number 11. Is that the movie? I turned that down because of broken nose.
Interesting.
And the guy couldn't understand. I said, because I don't want the pressure of being the guy who does the broken nose every single day for a whole movie.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much again. Congrats again on the Oscar nomination. Great to talk to you. Good luck on Emmy season. I feel good things going forward.
Well, your lips to God's ears. You tell them.
Thank you so much.